I got married to my college girlfriend when I was 30. Working in the planning department at the headquarters of a luxury confectionery manufacturer, I had a decent income, and my wife became a homemaker after our marriage. We were living a comfortable life, and our relationship was good. I thought we would continue to have happy days like these. But life doesn't always go so smoothly. 5 years into our marriage, I was suddenly transferred from the planning department to sales at a store. I was unfairly blamed for a mistake due to my boss's selfish jealousy. I think I was good at my job. Clients would say, "Your plans are always a step ahead, aren't they?" I was sometimes praised. But my immediate boss, Scott, didn't think highly of me. We often had disagreements and arguments at work. One day, Scott called me in unexpectedly to report. "What? Assigned to a store and losing my position. This is sudden and problematic. Is this because of the recent ordering mistake? But that was per your instructions, Scott. I didn't make that mistake, right?" I confronted my boss, but Scott just sneered. "It's a decision from above. Nothing can be done. When it rains, it pours." While I was still shocked by the sudden job change, another devastating event occurred. I left work early that day, thinking about how to break the news to my wife. With the demotion, my salary would decrease. I wondered what my wife would say. But I thought she would understand. And she would say, "I'll do my best." With these thoughts, I returned home. As I eagerly opened the front door, my wife was nowhere to be seen. The kitchen showed signs of an interrupted dinner preparation. Maybe she noticed something missing and went out to buy it. While sitting on the sofa, her cell phone rang on the table. She must have hurried out and forgotten it. Glancing at the screen, I saw the sinner's name. And it was followed by a heart emoji and then another heart. A bad feeling hit me and I grabbed a phone. Opening the new message, I found emails between my wife and another man. "Thanks for inviting me to dinner today. I was happy to see you. I love you." What is this? The following messages took my breath away. My wife was having an affair. When she returned from shopping, I confronted her with the phone. What is this all about? Her face turned pale, and she broke down crying. And that's how I ended up divorcing my wife. Her affair was with an ex-boyfriend, whom she reconnected with by chance at a shopping center. I could have demanded alimony, but honestly, I didn't have the energy. I just wanted to end it quickly and forget about it. Soon after, my wife left. I moved from the company housing to a small town where my new job was. The assigned store was a cake shop in front of a regional train station. The prices were quite high, and the customers seemed wealthy. I had little experience in customer service, and since joining the store, I've been constantly scolded by the manager, Maria. Maria was a tough woman, just as she appeared. She seemed irritated by my incompetence, treating me differently than other employees. There were 3 part-time employees at the store, all women and mothers. The gossip-loving women were whispering about why I had suddenly come from the headquarters. I felt isolated, unable to blend in with Maria or the part-time ladies. I thought about quitting, but in these times, finding another job isn't easy. So, I decided to rack up some achievements quickly and make my way back to the headquarters. However, despite my determination, things didn't go smoothly. I made mistakes like giving the wrong change and ringing up sales incorrectly almost daily. Maria looked at me with disappointment. "As a full-time employee, you should be more competent. We're already struggling with fewer customers, and it's gotten worse since you arrived." The part-timers chuckled at me daily. I knew all my mistakes were my fault. I was even surprised by my own poor memory after turning 50. It's embarrassing. I used to handle my work so well at the headquarters. And that was my everyday life. One day, the weather was bad, with a light rain, and perhaps because of that, the store was quiet until closing time. When I went outside to bring in the storefront sign, I saw a young girl, about kindergarten age, standing in front. She was peering into the cake showcase. Wondering what was going on, I rushed over to her. "It's starting to rain. Why don't you come inside the store for a bit?" The girl nodded silently. I quickly grabbed a towel from the back and wiped her wet hair and asked, "Did you come to buy a cake today?" When I asked, she nodded and sadly said, "Yes. I wanted to buy a cake for my mom, but I only have 50 cents. I couldn't find any cake for that price anywhere." Moved by her sad expression, I told her, "Don't worry about the money. Pick out a cake that your mom would like," with a smile. Her face lit up with a smile. "Really? Of course. Yay, Mom loves cute cakes, so I'll choose this one." She picked out a small but beautifully decorated fruit cake. I wrapped the box in pretty paper and handed it to her. The girl took the box of cake with great care, said thank you and left with a satisfied look on her face. When I opened the door, the rain had already stopped. It was just leftover cake that wouldn't sell the next day. Better given away than wasted, I thought, as I watched her leave. Then Maria, who was on break in the back, came out. I heard a child's voice. "What happened?" I explained the situation. Maria glared and scolded. "Why didn't you consult me first? Don't do things on your own." Since that day, Maria became even harsher with me, burdening me with menial tasks and reducing my time at the front. The part-timers continued to snicker at me. It was humiliating. I thought I'd rather be unemployed than continue this job. Just when I was contemplating quitting, I stumbled upon an article in a cake magazine. It featured a cake from our store. Reading carefully, it said, "My daughter was treated so kindly by a male employee at this cake shop. I was touched by his kindness, and the cake was delicious." Looking at the author's profile, they were a popular online cook, known for cute desserts and elaborate dishes, popular among women. I didn't know much about them, but the next day at the store, a part-time lady excitedly said, "This is about you, isn't it?" after seeing the magazine. That day, our cake sales skyrocketed, and even Maria seemed pleased. "This might be thanks to you," she said. Despite thinking it was a blatant turnaround, I was genuinely happy that the cakes sold well. Then, a few days later, that little girl and her mother visited the store. "My name is Elizabeth. Thank you for being so kind to Lily the other day," Elizabeth said. She bowed politely. She was even more beautiful in person than in the photos from the magazine, which made me nervous. Lily, alongside Elizabeth, also bowed and said, "Thank you." The employees, including Maria, who came to stand next to me, sparkled at Elizabeth's arrival. "Thank you for featuring our store in the magazine," Maria said to her. Elizabeth then replied, "Thank you. Last time, I only had 50 cents for a cake, right? I feel bad, so let me pay properly." She took out her wallet. "That's all right. Your feature helped increase our sales significantly. We should be thanking you." Maria laughed and answered. Elizabeth and Lily began visiting the store frequently, and I slowly started having conversations with Elizabeth. I found myself being drawn to her. But she was married. I forcefully suppressed those feelings. One day, Lily came to the store and invited me, "Come to Mom's cooking class. You can cook with us." Elizabeth was hosting a cooking class. Hesitating, Elizabeth, listening nearby, looked at me with pleading eyes and said, "Please come." Her expression made my heart skip a beat, and I blurted out, "I'd love to." I wasn't much into cooking, but I was excited to see Elizabeth and started attending regularly. Gradually, I got better at cooking and found joy in creating delicious dishes. Every time I finished cooking and ate with relish, Elizabeth would smile at me warmly. After about 6 months of these days, Elizabeth suddenly invited me out for coffee. I thought it would be a cafe or something, but it turned out to be a trendy high-end restaurant popular online. "I'm sorry for calling you out so suddenly," Elizabeth said with an apologetic look. "No problem. I'm just a single guy with time on my hands," I replied with a laugh. Elizabeth looked surprised. "Really?" I thought someone as wonderful as you would be married by now. Her question made me boldly ask in return. Elizabeth, you have a husband, right? No, not anymore. I'm divorced. It happened 6 months ago, she replied with a smile. I felt a bit happy hearing that, which made me feel pathetic. Elizabeth's expression then turned sad as she spoke about her divorce. It's embarrassing, but my husband cheated on me with one of my friends. I trusted her, so it was a huge shock. Her ex-husband seemed unremorseful, paid her alimony, and left triumphantly. She shared how Lily, wanting to cheer her up, decided to buy a cake from our shop. At a time when Elizabeth was losing faith in people, hearing about the kindness at the cake shop made her want to meet me. I see. Actually, I also got divorced because of my ex-wife's affair. The day I found out was the same day I got demoted at work. I thought it was the worst day of my life. I shared, smiling wryly. Well, what a coincidence. Elizabeth seemed surprised by my story. Then she continued. I wanted to talk about that today, but there's something more important. She looked down as she spoke. Before she could continue, I blurted out, would you like to start dating, even as friends? Elizabeth looked up and said shyly, I'd be happy to, and not just as friends. I confessed my feelings to her. Then, let's date officially. Elizabeth smiled at me with a childlike, adorable smile and slowly nodded. And so, we became a couple. Now, every day is incredibly joyful. I've gotten completely used to the job at the store, and ever since Elizabeth introduced me, the number of customers has steadily increased. The store's sales have soared, and after a while, I was reassigned to the headquarters. Returning to the headquarters after a long time, I found out that Scott, who had demoted me, was no longer there. Apparently, he made a big mistake and was fired. Elizabeth was thrilled about my promotion. Recently, Lily has started asking if she can call me Dad. I'm planning to propose to Elizabeth on her birthday next month. Currently, our daily routine is searching for a house to live in together as a family of 3. We've both been through a lot in our past, but that makes us want to create even more happiness in the future. I want to protect them for the rest of my life. That's what I'm thinking.